In this video, I'm going to show you how to plan a single square foot of garden using the square foot gardening method. In this, you'll need a few tools. You'll need a pencil, a piece of paper that is a foot by a foot, which you might have to cut out of a larger piece of paper because a typical sheet of standard printing paper is 8.5 by 11 inches, which is not quite a foot. You could also tape it together or glue it, and that will work. You also need a spacing chart for your square foot gardening. You can get these in a number of places online for free, or you can order fancy ones. I have actually printed off some spacers for different plants, and if you look close enough, you can see I have ingrained the different plants that use that much space. I believe this is a 3-inch spacer. You can use beets, carrots, green onions, leeks, parsnips, radishes, salad greens, and turnips. And this is a 4-inch spacer, okay, which has a bunch of other things like pole beans, bush beans, onions, spinach, and so forth. But let's get to it. I also have this other sheet of paper that I am just going to glue it to, and it also has a spacing guide on it. Not needed, but just an extra. So I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna draw circles or squares for every space that I want. And I'm gonna use my handy spacers because I have them available. You can use anything that will give you that kind of space. You can cut out little pieces of paper. You could just measure with a ruler. That's fine too. But I'm gonna use this because I have it. So I actually made up a little one on the back of this that I'll show you. And I already wrote a few of them in. I got some leeks, pole beans, radishes, and turnips. And this is a really good way to understand spacing and to know exactly what you can plant in a single square foot. This way you don't have to plant an entire square foot with one crop. You can mix it up a lot, which intercropping is really beneficial to a lot of plants because different plants use different nutrients. So you can get higher density and higher yield often by mixing your crops. Okay, so this method will then be continued to fill up the whole square foot, and then you'll be able to see what you have to work with. Often with square foot gardening, you have lots of garden, but sometimes if there's a kid or a student or someone just wants 1 square foot to get their foot in the door or get their feet wet, this is a really good way to allow them to be creative. And this is going to give you a lot of basic skills and just to know how much space everything needs. If you have wider gaps in between them, that's fine. What you want to do is try to reduce the amount of overlap. Even if you have a little bit of overlap, it's not going to be the end of the world. Okay? Gardening is about experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't. Some things may work better closer to others, some things may not. There's a ton of things you can learn about on the internet about companion planting and spacing, but this is a basic way to actually visualize it, and then you can take this out to your garden and you can plant it exactly how you make it. So yeah, that is how to make a single square foot garden plan.